Welcome to our Superpower Hitting System. We produced this video specifically for you. Let's take a moment to set aside our beliefs, to get past the point of our own perspective, so we can see possibilities in a new way of looking at hitting. When you tell or teach a player something, you take away forever his satisfaction of discovering it for himself.
So yesterday I hit with Coach Doug, and what I loved a lot about yesterday was I was figuring things out on my own. Every once in a while, Coach Doug would give me just a slight thing to focus on or something small, a small instruction, and then I'd be able to take it and use it myself and figure out how it's going to work for me. I've never hit baseballs that hard in my life. I haven't felt that much fun in a very long time playing baseball, and like the outside pitches, it felt so natural to hit it hard, hit it square. Inside pitches, bad pitches, I'd find a way to hit the ball. It was just absolutely wonderful. I have no idea really how it worked or why the cues that we used worked, but they did. I can't take credit for it. I'm definitely not going to fight it because it was absolutely amazing, and I haven't experienced anything like that in the game of baseball for years. It was so freeing, and I think that actually added to later on in the day, towards the back half of practice, I got even more loose and even more fluid, and even more, my swing was even more of one swing, one thing. And so it just compiled and had the most fun ever. It was absolutely amazing. What's so unique about Coach Doug's program that we do is, even calling him Coach Doug doesn't always make sense. I think when I hear coach, I think of a sports psychology approach where it's very heavy-handed, very involved. What Coach Doug does is he guides me through the process. He's there when I need help. He'll help nudge me in the right direction. But it's me doing the work, it's me moving, I'm taking my swings, I'm moving my body, I'm experiencing it in real time. It's not being told what to do, it's just being told, hey, let's try this or give this a shot, and then it's up to me to discover it and discover myself by using it. So in a couple days, I head back down to Southern California where I play NCAA baseball. Last year I definitely struggled with tension, tightness, didn't play up my potential, and those problems compounded. Now, after working with Doug this summer, I feel like I have a good plan in place with the right tools. I'm ready to face those challenges. The pressures, I know they might come up, but I know how to deal with them now much more effectively and a lot faster. So I'm actually really excited to go back to baseball, whereas at the end of last season, I wasn't really having fun. I didn't really want to come back. I was definitely in no rush. Now I can't wait to get back down to California, back to my school, and start using all these things I've been practicing. I feel great, really excited.
So many times college and professional players are experiencing a lot of the downside of baseball. And so their mind starts to go towards self-doubt, worry, anxiety. They may even cry themselves to sleep at night because the stresses are so great that they're going to lose their place in the batting order. They're going to lose their lineup. They're going to be sitting on the bench. They're going to let everybody down who's depending upon them. And the pressures can mount to a point where players will say, I'm just going to quit this game. I don't want to play anymore. I'm just not good enough. And the fields of sports psychology in North America really got going in the early 70s, late 60s with a few key players. And they helped the player to consciously construct mental tools to cope with pressure in games. And those were the beginning stages of helping players to deal with stress. So they taught them breathing routines. They taught them what to focus on. Look at the left field foul pole. It's always there. And focus on that for a moment. And so on. So they gave the players tools to deal with these stressful moments. But because of the development of neuroscience, which is the study of the brain, newer developments have been made in helping athletes to deal with these situations, and I'd like to explain those to you now. This is a newer field, and it's called the field of neuroscience. And these are scientists who are able to study how the brain works. And this is developed because of our phenomenal advancements in computer and computer technology. So several scientists went to work on athletes, and they put a cap on their head which picks up a number of electrical signals so they can see which part of the brain is working and the nerve impulses. And then they had the athlete perform a variety of functions. And what they observed by analyzing different athletes was very fascinating. Those athletes that were the best at their sport, so these are the top athletes, in competition used a different part in their brain than some of the other athletes on the team. Now, the other athletes may have been physically more talented. That was interesting. But they were the athletes who would tend to somewhat underperform, or the mind would interfere with their ability. So those lower athletes were using a different place in their brain than the top athletes. And that was fascinating because it opened up a whole new avenue of study as to what's limiting to the performance in these lower athletes, even though they might have been more gifted. And we have lots of examples of that. Derek Jeter was not the most gifted player that ever played in the Major League Baseball, but he was one of the most successful. And by observing this, they located different regions in the brain and what each portion of that brain is responsible for. So now the challenge became, if we can help the athlete to use the same parts of the brain in the big moments of the games that the top athletes do, then they would be able to perform at the same level as the top athletes, and they would lose the ability to be affected by the stress-pressure response. And that is a major breakthrough for sport. You know, the last 100 years we've been spent on the body and training the body and body movement. I think the next 100 years are going to be spent on the mind, because it's the mind that controls the body, and the mind can also interfere with the body's beautiful fluid motion. And I think this is the area where developments are going to happen. And this is the area where it's been exciting for my learning and my ability to help players, is because I help them to learn different areas of their brain and use those areas during the performance of their sport. And their consistency has gone up, their ability to play under pressure has increased, and their love of the game, their excitement, and their enjoyment for playing this game has gone through the roof. Josh is demonstrating the benefits of his training in our super power hitting system. He's putting the sweet spot of his bat on the perfect spot on the ball. He's getting on plane early and staying through the ball to generate a great launch angle and long distance ball flight, and all the while making it look effortless.